This week on A7. Why we have relationships. Welcome to part 7 of the Human Curriculum, where we have been exploring through a series of 10 episodes how to make sense of our human existence. Today we are discussing why we have relationships and the purpose of having them. It is important to remember that the earth is a beautiful school of higher education for our human souls. We come to learn and grow to continue our ongoing evolution and expansion as a consciousness. This is our primary function here on earth. At our core, we are all relational beings on a physical and spiritual level. We are deeply connected to others for a reason. Each relationship teaches us about ourselves and our wounds, desires, and expectations. And this mirrors back to us what we want and what we don't want in our lives. Relationships are a very rich teacher. It shows us our wounds. They give us structure to examine, evolve, a new sense of identity. Every relationship, good or bad, is a teacher, and you are the student of life. This master class is designed to unlock and explore all doors in order for us to evolve, learn, and grow. This is why they can make life feel heavy or give great ease. Negative relationships helps us grow through adversity and work through negative beliefs. Positive ones help us maintain a healthy reflection that are full of love and support, and they keep us whole and deeply grounded. Think and reflect on your very first relationship, the one you have with your mother, the one who creates and nurtures your body, the vessel of your new life. This is our primary introduction to relationships. This relationship shapes the rest of our incarnation. What she taught you about life, the positive and the negative, and what learned behaviors did, how did this bring it into your awareness? Every relationship is an energetic exchange that shapes identity, perception, and evolution. The meeting of two fields creates a third, and it's from this perspective we learn and grow. To reflect on aspects of the self we cannot see alone. Now, let's join the panel for another fascinating discussion. All right, welcome everyone to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Hey, it's good to have you all here tonight. Thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. So we are talking about why do we have relationships tonight? And this is really exciting stuff, in my opinion. And it's part of our 10-part series on the human curriculum. And we're starting to wind down. We got 3 more episodes after this. But this part of it is really, really, excuse me, expansive. And when we start to look at what relationships really are and why we have them, it kind of puts things into perspective. And I kind of wanted to start off real quick tonight before we get into too much else. Excuse me. Carl Jung, and I like to quote these people. They're interesting because they're part of our history. But Carl Jung said that he viewed relationships as transformative, mirroring, and crucial for self-actualization, emphasizing that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. He believed that true connection requires integrating one's own inner darkness rather than projecting it onto others, viewing love as a powerful force for personal growth. And relationships accelerate consciousness more than solitude ever could. And I just thought that was a really good way to start the show. Awesome, awesome. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat real quick, and then we'll say hello to the panel.
Hey, Lori,
yes.
Before you launch into it, Loretta only sees me, Sophia, and Brian, so I just sent her a message to use the other link to get in. She's probably looking at a different link.
Yeah, so everyone, if you're seeing, partial parts of us, that's because StreamYard has two types of links, the PC TV version and one for your cell phone tablet. So there's two versions out there. Go back to YouTube and find the one that fits your device.
She fixed it.
Good. All right. I do try to run that in the very beginning, but people will get used to it. It's just to accommodate those who are on cell phones and those who are on PCs or tablets. Okay. Great. Let's get into this. Hi, Charles. Good to see you. Tuning in with tacos. Yay. Right on.
It's going to charge me for delivery. He's not my friend.
No free delivery? What the hey? Party people, love ya. Hi, Scotty boy. Yes, Sophia is in the house tonight. Loving that. We've got Teresa with us, Sophia, and Nick the magician, and Grandpa Brian. Thank you all for joining us tonight to talk about this topic and really dive into it. Let's see who else is in. Loretta Enigma, it's good to see you in the chat. Hey, and if you haven't chatted before, try something new. Make a comment. It's really interesting to see what you guys have to say when we're doing these shows. And I really enjoy the feedback too, with some really great comments. But yeah, so, and if you just joining us and you haven't seen the beginning of the show, definitely go back and take a look at that video. Instead of doing the trailer separately, I just do them as an intro. And that kind of gets the ball going and starts us off. So let's do this. Let's get into this. And you know what? Tonight I'm going to start with you, Teresa. Why do we have relationships?
Okay. So we can learn more about ourselves, because you and everybody else is a reflection of me. So we have relationships, all different kinds, so that we can see that reflection, understand ourselves better, understand what we're really all about and who we really are, and understand who you are all about and who you really are. And it could be your boss, a husband, a wife, a mother, a friend, a dog, a cat, your employer, whatever. But we have relationships to learn and grow. That's all it's about. That's what it's about. It's to understand what it is to be loved, appreciated, adored, respected. Because everybody wants that type of relationship. And even if it's not an intimate relationship and it's one with a special friend or even a group of friends or a teacher that you know, or a minister like Charles, Rev Charles, it could be a relationship that means something. And all relationships have meaning and significance. So we have them to learn and grow and expand, to reflect back to one another and to teach one another, regardless of whether it's been a great experience or a not so good experience. We learn something from that. And we take it with us, and we carry it with us throughout all of our lives and all of our manifestations, no matter where we are.
Love it, love it, love it. It's a mirror because you can't see yourself without the mirror.
Right.
So that's why we have them, and they always reflect back. Yes. How about
Some
you,
people,
Sophie?
some people will say to me, "How can you love anybody else or find love in a relationship unless you love yourself first? And what about those who don't love themselves? They're not going to have good relationships." And I say, because I've learned to love myself through having more loving relationship. So you can always learn and grow and change your frequency
Mhm.
through learning how to love another person in a relationship.
That's true. The relationships you
Yeah,
choose to have and what you put up with, what you won't put up with,
yeah.
because you know what you want and what you don't want. You got to know all that before you get into that. Oh, I don't want any more of these kind of relationships. I want this kind of relationship. Okay, let me just do that. On that note,
That better be Jesus.
more likely it's the Amazon guy. Woo. Yeah, so what do you think, Sophia? What's your take on why do we have relationships?
I feel it is part of self development, the different types of relationships, developing certain parts of ourselves. The mirror thing that Teresa was talking about, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. What is that one thing? Reason, season, you meet, you, what is it, Lori? What is
It's
that?
a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So
There you go.
relationships are all that. Some of them you have for a season, some you have for a lifetime. Like siblings, that's a lifetime.
Sometimes.
Unless you're
Yeah.
not speaking to them. But those types, close family, that kind of stuff, or close friends. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, why do we have relationships? Some of us don't really want them, but it's necessary because no one's meant to be an island. So, if you're someone who doesn't really interact with a lot of people, hopefully
Mm-hmm.
that's healthy for you, but we're meant to interact. So, I don't know. That's about all I have on that one for right now.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed it.
How about you, Nick? I know you've got a lot to say about this. Why do we have relationships? And what's your take on that?
Well, to start off with, I really agree with what Teresa said
Mm-hmm.
and Sophia said. I do believe that we are all mirrors of each other that comprises of a greater whole. Um, and we do this fractures so we can get to know ourselves better. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's why this entity does that. It puts all its little pieces of its energy into a bunch of different aspects, and then it experiments, basically learning itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't be able to do it otherwise, because having two sets of eyes on the same topic will give you two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So this being is seeing a bunch of perspectives all simultaneously to understand what is actually true and is not actually a truth. And I feel like that's important for this cosmic egg's self-development.
Yeah, what's interesting is that we're all experiencing things from our own perspective, which creates a completely different mirror when you think about it, because you could be together with someone and you witness something and you both see something different in
Yep.
that situation. So that's really interesting to me. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
And because there's so many possibilities, you both can be right and wrong at the same time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how convoluted it can get. So
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that. Awesome.
yeah, someone's lesson can be someone's mistake. So
Mm.
so like, for an example, like someone comes down and their mission is to be carefree, like they're just supposed to exist and enjoy their time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they do, and all the outcomes are very positive. But someone else that's part of that collective comes down but because they wanted a lot of reason, they wanted a lot of responsibility. Because they wanted the rewards that comes with that. So if they are also carefree, they don't get rewarded, they get punished because it doesn't align with what they came here to do.
Fascinating. How about you, Brian? What's your take on this? Why do we have relationships?
Well, I have to agree with everybody, but I look at it, if we all have the spark of source in us, then it's just source experiencing source.
Yep.
So, I mean, relationships, you have relationships that come into your life that show you the negative side of everything, just like you have people that come in that show you the positive aspect of everything. So, like, I have some friends, we're no longer friends once I really learned how negative they were, and they taught me actually how to notice when someone is negative. So, in that aspect, that relationship, and it was a long time relationship, showed me the negative aspect of life. And then I started meeting more positive, and then eventually ended up at all my relations. And you look at that group of people, that relationships that I had with them, it's shown me a different side of the light way. So, we just have people to come in to teach us different aspects of not only energies, but things that we have inside ourselves. Because, we have the dark side and we have a light side. There's a duality there. There always will be a duality there. So
Yep.
they are teaching us to notice that dark aspect inside of us.
Right.
Just like Jim, Heather, and all of you helped me towards and showed me the light aspect of everything.
That's true. So when we think about relationships, a lot of us are always thinking about what's outside of us, like the relationship you have with a sibling, the relationship you have with a lover, someone you work with, an employer. But oftentimes we don't stop and think about the relationship, and this is the most important relationship you'll ever have, and that is with yourself. And that is very difficult for people to have that understanding about having a relationship with you. You can have a relationship with anything. You can have a relationship with your phone. You can have a relationship with your car. I mean, everything is relational. And it's so that we can just experience ourselves in a myriad of many ways. But I don't think that most people even think about themselves. And Sophia, we were talking about this earlier, just before we came on, about how you tend to be really hard on yourself. And it's not just you, we all do that. And I was hoping you could speak on that a bit. Why do you think we do that to ourselves? Why are we so hard on ourselves?
I think part of it's our culture. I really do. And I just rely on, my husband and my other, sisters by choice when I have my moments. It gets easier, but I feel like people that have been through like heavy like conflict or post traumatic or whatever, you just tend not to want to be around people because then there's no potential for anything to happen. I think that's what mine is the more people I'm around, the more chance that something can happen. And it's like, I have to release living in fear because it's not serving me. If my husband had $1, he's probably cheering right now, hearing me say that. But I don't know. I think a lot of it's our culture, and trauma. And it's unprogramming or rewiring yourself for success instead of standing in it. And it's fear, but owning it, calling it what it is, and doing something about it. So, and that's what I do every time I get on the platform to give messages or whatever is going on. It's never easy to be able.
Mm-hmm. But how do you feel once you've done that and you've had the opportunity to kind of learn and grow through it and kind of cut through that fear, so to speak? How does that make you feel when you face it?
Well, it's relief when it's complete. And then when I have the privilege of hearing somebody's feedback, like if something that happened, really ministered to them, which is why we do this in the first place. But just, I don't know, just doing the best I can to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how about relationships that you've had? You could be in long-term relationships, short-term relationships of any kind, and suddenly it disintegrates and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? And what comes to mind when you think about those types of situations, those relationships that it's time to leave, it's time to call it quits and let it go and move on to something new?
It's, for me, the deal breaker for a relationship is respect. Because the people I surround myself with, there has to be a level of respect and understanding, or it's not going to last. But it's very painful for me to move a boundary either way, to allow somebody closer to me or to give someone space to keep the connection healthy. It's not a punishment. It's just, I have enough respect for myself not to allow certain things to happen without, there being accountability. And some people aren't used to it, so they have to, they're further away. And I don't know, it's not easy when someone breaks my trust. I wrestle with it. I wrestle with a lot of things. And it's because I work out of a heart space. So it's like tending a garden. You have to wrestle with and work through the emotions to be effective.
I'd like to add on to that, Sophia, because it's like a double-edged sword sometimes. I think we have a tendency as humans to enter into relationships with a whole lot of expectations. And those patterns that we develop early on through our mother, as you said in the video, one of our first contacts is our nurturing mother. But there are many different role models throughout your life as you're growing up and developing. Your guidance counselors at school, your teachers, your extended family members, your parents, and so forth. Your friends, your buddies who you hang out with. But in any case, we develop these sets of expectations. And it's kind of like the other part of the human curriculum that we already talked about is, why do you keep attracting the same stereotypes over and over, the same type of people? And if we could just go into a relationship with the sense of, I'm just going to communicate with you as best I can what I like and what I don't like. And I'm going to learn as much as I can about you, what you prefer, what you don't prefer. What are you all about? Who are you really? And then who am I? And then from there, start building a foundation of trust and respect. So respect is something that gets earned over time based on how people interact. But if we go in there with an expectation that things are going to be a certain way, they have to be, my relationship with Lori has to be this. My relationship with Brian has to be that, So when you go in with expectations and then the person fails to live up to your expectations, or the whole thing, the whole exchange between you fails because maybe you've been judging that person on the attributes of 3 other friends you had that were similar. But I'm me. Get to know me. Don't compare me to A, B, C, D, and E. Look at me. Feel me. Get to know me and what I'm about. You might see similarities, but then I try to do the same with other people. And it's hard sometimes because we do get into a trap of setting expectations.
Well, what's interesting too is when you get into a relationship, you have to learn how to be honest, not only with them, but with yourself. And it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time and energy to
Mhm.
get through that, because there are those expectations. And sometimes you feed off of that and you're not honest with yourself and you're not honest with others. And so that kind of
Yeah.
skews everything. And, you have that kind of honeymoon phase, that novelty phase that you go through where you're just
Mhm.
not seeing the reality of the relationship. And so it just kind of ebbs and flows. It goes through it. And sometimes you're riding that wave, and sometimes the wave's riding you.
Yeah.
And then that relationship ends and moves on, and then you grow into something else. And you're either going to attract those same types of relationships, or you're going to learn from the last one and
Right.
you're going to make the changes to go with the new relationship.
But it's also, let's say I had a friend once who was doing some stuff and I took offense. I'm like, you're not showing me respect. You're not living up to my expectations in this relationship. And I think what you have said and done and the way you have acted is very disrespectful, because I have these sets of codes and standards. You didn't live up to my codes. You didn't live up to my standards. Therefore, you dissed me.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, I had no idea that you would respond that way. Because I don't know you that well. I haven't known you that long. I've only known you for a short period of time, and we got along really, really well. And I wasn't thinking clearly, obviously, but I wasn't trying to disrespect you. I'd like another opportunity to make amends here and move forward. And then I would so I like held her a little bit at arm's length, and I didn't run away from it and say, well, I'm never going to associate with you or affiliate myself with you because you disrespected me and you don't show any respect. And I see that pattern in you. You do it to other people too. And she may not have even been aware, just like she was with me, that this pattern that, I'm seeing what was affecting other people too. So if we take the time to learn about one another, you can still set boundaries and healthy boundaries. But if you take time to learn one another, you might find that they're not really fully aware. So you be a good communicator and say, well, yeah, I was really offended by it. I didn't appreciate it. It needs to stop. I don't like that. And then and do it with love. Do it with kindness. Don't go backstabbing her to 20 other people. I have that here in this neighborhood. There's this neighbor. Oh my God. She just disses everybody on the street. And I'm like, get away from me. I don't want that energy. I'll find out about that person myself.
You'll come to your own conclusion.
Yeah. So anyway, Sophia, I'm not correcting you. I'm adding to it in that it's a dual edge. You have to maintain that balance. When somebody's really dissing you, or test the waters a little bit, make sure you're right about that, but it is important. Having respect for other people develops trust, and it shows that you love, and it shows that you care,
That brings up a point where if someone is, I cannot tell you how many times somebody said, well, you make me feel like this.
Yeah.
I do. I have that kind of power. Wow. Really? I can do that to you? No, you just give your own power away. And, you put yourself in that position. If you're solid within yourself, if you're confident within yourself, you don't need anybody else's approval anymore. And, that's difficult. I've gone many years where I was always trying to make everybody happy. My partner, I was trying to make happy. My employees, I was trying to make happy. Everybody. And it just got to a point where, wait a minute, what about my happiness? I'm responsible for my happiness. Wait a minute. And I had to really look at myself. Yeah. Nick, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about the soul agreement part of this? Where, we have those agreements, we come in to have a relationship with someone and we know that we're going to be with somebody for a certain amount of time, or we're going to have a relationship for a certain amount of time. And then it kind of fizzles out and wears out. But how do you feel about the soul agreement and the reasons we do that?
Well, I feel like it's mostly having to do with whatever lesson we're trying to learn. Or wanting to learn is probably a better word than trying. like you were saying in the beginning, some bonds they never fizzle out. It's eternity. I mean,
Yep.
I've lost count of how many lifetimes I've had with Jasmine. Like
Yes.
every time I unlock memories, I'm like, oh, she was there, type of
Yep.
thing. So like, that happens with people, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not as often, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's whatever's needed at the time. It's sometimes I feel like it's scouting. If like if a pantheon is thinking about expanding, they see if they can find candidates for that.
I get that. I get that.
Because
Possible.
the nature of life force is always multiplication and expansion.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of multiplication and expansion is in literally everything, and I explained it down to the atoms in the Rosicrucian stuff. So like, yeah, it's active in everything. I feel like life in general is always at an active instinctual desire to expand. So
Yes.
I feel like that's one of the big reasons why relationships are here even in the first place.
Pure curiosity, in my opinion.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that no one wants to be lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard for people to spend time with themselves too.
Yeah.
You think you're always looking for things outside of you to make you happy. Find a way to make yourself happy first and foremost. And that's a lot of the relationships I've had where I didn't do that. And now I understand what's important for me. It's how I feel about me. And that's not being selfish. That's self first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important.
Yep, the collective stuff is important, but also the individual stuff is important, especially when you're human. One of the biggest lessons of being human is exploring your self-conscious.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Agreed. How about you, Grandpa Brian? How do you feel about that and the soul agreements? What you got to say on that?
Well, the contracts are only meant to last so long.
Yes.
And one thing I learned once a relationship has ran its course, it's ran its course. That doesn't mean if I didn't run into that person, changing pleasantries, but, other than that, the contract's been filled,
You just take it to a certain level and then you kind of back off from that. You're like, yeah. Hey,
Right.
How's it going? Great. Yeah. But you don't get into any particulars or things of that nature. You're not sharing that part of yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Right. There's a small handful that, I would just say hi to and go on about my way. But then there's a lot of other relationships that ended. I would still have conversation with these people because even though it ended, we both understand what the relationship was about and why it had to end. And there was no hard feelings. Not that we were ever going to get back together again, but if we would run into each other, we would have a civil conversation between us. So there's a couple different types of the bad ones when, you have that bad contract where they're screwing you over or you're screwing them over.
Have you noticed that when you're with certain people, you'll act a certain way, and then when you're with other people, you will kind of fit into that mode with them as well? You kind of have this little shifting thing going on where you kind of assimilate into that group, and then do you experience that as well?
No, not really. Kind of like when I'm with my brothers and family and all them, I kind of feel, off to the side because, they have a different type of friends. And when growing up, I had two younger brothers. Kevin, the closest one, always trying to, how should I put it? Want to challenge the older brother all the time. We fought quite a bit.
That competitive.
One time the neighbor called my mom and said, "Hey, your boys are fighting out in the front yard." My mom was like, "Well, at least they're not bleeding on my floor." But I never really had a close relationship with them. So when I'm kind of around them, I kind of feel like, I'm off to the side because, none of them smoke like I do. And And then with my group of friends that I hang out with down here and go to my camping trip and all that, it's probably one of the best group of friends I've ever been around because it's never about an individual. It's always about the group fun.
There's a
Everybody just,
comfort level.
yeah, everybody just bees themselves and do whatever
Yeah.
you want to do.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you find, I mean, you're out in the work world, you have all these guys you work with in different environments,
Mm-hmm.
the auto shop, the roofing company, then you have all the people you relate to with at all my relations and help teach some of the classes. I would say in a situation where you tell me, you might not shift who you are or what you believe in or the expression of yourself as much as you would practice good communication skills in that you would I find myself adapting my communication style with certain groups of people because I know they're on a certain level of understanding or I know that they won't tolerate something that's too far off the cuff because I don't want to alienate them. Like here in this community, you talk about spirituality, you better do it very carefully, very gently, and very um, respectfully because some people might be offended because you're not a Christian, you know. Or there might be people at work that I used to work with that could only speak in terms of project planning, you know, and everything was cut and dry with the communication. Don't you find yourself communicating in different ways with different kinds of people?
Well,
As a natural way of adjusting or tuning the frequency of your communication?
yeah, let's just take work for instance. I've been there going on 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
About the first, I don't know, 13 years I worked there, I was the only person that would tell everybody good morning every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody tells each other good morning because of my persistence in this work relationship of keeping it positive and always putting a good vibe out there as soon as I got there every morning.
Seed planting. You're
It's
planting the seed.
right. And then that spread out to where it's a much nicer environment because I'm telling you, when I first started working there, it was an ugly, toxic environment. You had 3 or 4 people in there that would sit and laugh and talk about other people's misery and laugh about it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I actually wanted to ask Doug one time, I was like, how can such a good person that you are attract all this negative energy around them? Because that
Mm-hmm.
place, when I was there, it was almost toxic.
Yeah.
I mean, I say good morning, everybody. I would clock in and I would stand outside. That's how bad the energy, even if it was 10 degrees outside, I was standing outside. Just how much
Mm-hmm.
negative energy was in that shop in the morning.
Did you notice that when you were very positive around people, that they actually resented it?
Yeah, a couple of them, they're like, oh, you suck up. First, when I,
Yeah.
say good morning to our supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
and he never said good morning. Past 4 or 5 years, he's been saying good morning. And if I don't say it to him, he'll come up to me and say, hey, good morning, Brian.
Hmm.
Because I kept going at it and just saying good morning. They're like, oh, you suck up. You're just kissing his ass. No, I'm not. I'm just being the authentic me, the kindness, wanting to make sure everybody starts their day with a good day, with a
Well,
good
the
vibe.
little green monsters will rear their heads.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But have you ever had anybody out and out tell you they don't like you? This has happened to me because I was so positive. I don't like you.
Uh,
I was like, what? What did you just say? I
so
don't like you.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
that's some shit right there.
The owner of the company came out one day and said, Brian, you and Bobby are going to go put this blowing insulation in this attic. Bobby looked right at the owner of the company and said, I ain't going to work with him. I don't even like him.
Hmm.
So Doug said, hey, told someone else to go with Bobby and do that. He said,
Mm-hmm.
just come to my office. Well, when I walked into his office, I apologized to him for what Bobby said. because, as an owner of a company and you're wanting two employees to go out and work together and you hear that, it's it shouldn't be like that. But yeah, I had a guy flat out said, I ain't
Well,
gonna work with him. I don't even like him. I was like,
Brian, my
yeah.
sister Marilyn, when she was in her, I guess she was probably in her mid 30s to early 40s, she was a systems analyst person, just like I was. And there was this woman we had both worked with on two different teams for two different companies. So we had this woman in common. And she goes, "Oh, I can't stand that woman." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Oh, she's so damn cheerful in the morning. I can't stand people like that. Can you tolerate people like that? They come up to you with a cup of coffee. Hi, good morning." She says, "I can't stand it. It's just something so fake about it." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm thinking to myself, you know what it is with you is that you yourself aren't a cheerful person. You don't even say hello to me. I'm your sister or anybody, not even mom, unless you've had 2 mugs of coffee. Do not talk to her before she's had her coffee. So she herself implants that pattern of within her own self onto that relationship and judges that woman in that relationship as being sicky or too cheerful or too friendly, or because she herself doesn't have that kind of friendly personality. Now, when you got to know her and she got to trust you and know you after a while, yeah, she was great to be around, very popular. But if you didn't know her or you were new and you didn't know any better to approach her, and not turn it on so much, there are people that really turn it on,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm like sitting there with a cup of coffee, like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't like the person, but it's just like I'm not awake yet and it's too much energy.
Mm-hmm.
But she was actually judging the person for being friendly.
Yeah.
Thinking there was something suspicious about the way she acted.
Yeah. Sophia, do you often run into that? Do you, and I wanted to ask you the question of, do you find yourself adjusting yourself in certain situations and different people like that as well?
If I'm being compensated for a job, they're paying me to work, not for my personality, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, do I have a white collar face that is somewhat different from what someone would see if I was giving them a reading? Absolutely. Different stroke, different folk. It's
What
just the
about a
way it is.
social? What about a social situation?
I mean, it depends on the company. I'm one that I've learned to read the room, and depending on what I'm picking up is what I'm going to throw down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's what I was looking for.
yeah, mutable fire, Team Sagittarius over here. If
Mm-hmm.
someone has a problem with me, good for them. It's a them problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone has a problem with me, they have a problem with source, because I'm just down here to have a good time. And
Mm-hmm.
I do care, but deep down inside, that would be a type of codependency. Oh, well, that person doesn't like me. Well, they're not the first. They won't be the last drive through. Communication. I don't have time
Thank
for that
you. Come
bullshit
again.
anymore. I really don't.
Yeah.
I've moved beyond a
Well,
popularity contest.
Well, you're your true authentic self. That you're just being real with yourself.
Right.
And you know what? That is difficult for people to do that. They don't know how to be real with themselves.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you do. You always do on everything.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick? How do you feel about that?
In regards to like the job stuff?
Job stuff, social interactions, just your relationships in general. Do you find yourself sometimes having to kind of go with the flow or to make adjustments in how you are acting with certain group of people, or do you just stay in your true authentic self like Sophia likes to do?
I stay in my authentic self as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like depending on the situation or circumstances, I feel like I should reel back. Mostly because it's a reminder to myself that, hey, as much as I like being the star of the show, I'm not always the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my, like today with the party thing. So the reason why I didn't go was because Holly is doing her best to learn how to function without a guy around.
Uh-huh.
And so that's her way of trying to be more independent and stuff like that. So even though I wanted to go because it's magic stuff, I love participating in magic stuff, and I love being around Jasmine. I thought to myself, well, wouldn't I just be a cancer for that whole purpose? Like if I'm over there being lovey-dovey with Jasmine when she's trying to figure out how to not have that around her. So, you know, I'm on the show instead because I know you guys love having me around. So
Go where you're wanted, huh, bro?
right. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes you gotta be considerate, and sometimes that causes compromises.
But also I think deep down for you, you're just allowing her to have time with other people, and
that too.
and that's good to allow her to have her time with them, and you have your time with whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah. I was talking about this with Jasmine yesterday. If you dig down deep enough, you can find deeper and deeper and deeper reasons for why everyone does what they do.
Yeah.
Me, I don't feel like that's necessary most of the time to dig down that deep, because both her and Hannah were trying to like really dig into the why I want my goals and why I pursue the metaphysical stuff and what I want to get out of it and blah blah blah. And like I have surface level answers most of the time. It's just like I find it fun. I like it. Like I don't overthink that, if that makes sense. Like, but then they get me thinking. I'm like, well, it's because I like healing people. I like growing from it. So like I have collective reasons and individual reasons. So that tackles both aspects of relationships with yourself and others. So you if you really sat down with yourself, did the shadow work, you can find out a bunch of crazy reasons for why you do it. Personally, I feel like if you do that too much, you're wasting time. Enjoy your life. Your oversoul already knows what you're supposed to be doing. Have the faith and trust that you're going where you're supposed to be going. You don't need all the answers right away.
I think metaphysics is an opportunity to remember who you truly are.
Yeah.
And it's a system to learn about yourself, learn and grow, to understand why you're here, why others are here, and to kind of figure out what this playground's all about, the school that you're in, which also kind of makes me think about boundaries as well. Relationships teach us how to have boundaries. Would you agree on that?
Oh yeah, I agree. Because once it becomes more than just you have to be mindful and have that empathy. So like I have to think like, will my action hurt Jasmine? Just for an example. And and depending on the answer to that would change my entire choice on the matter. You can go from left field to right field really quickly because of things like that. So I think it's really important. I think it helps with self-development, discipline, growth, etc. So,
Lucky Stone has an interesting comment here. Being authentic around some people can be difficult. Yeah, it certainly can. You have to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off, kind of a thing. And I believe that's where your discernment comes in, because you could be one way with certain types of people, and then you have to be another way with others, especially like an employer. You have to present your best face. You don't want to show any weakness. You want to show that you're able to handle whatever they're putting down for you. But then you can be around your friends and just be vulnerable and be like, well, that's not the way I see it, kind of a thing. And that's what I'm talking about here.
I was going to mention that about the employer relationship. I come from an age of, I was born in 1960, and what they taught us in high school in the late 70s, what you picked up in university in the 80s, and your first few jobs was get to know, and this was a mindset. Oh my gosh, is my boss going to like me? How do I get my boss to respect me? How do I get my boss to like me? What is my boss like? What is he not like? Should I get my boss a cup of coffee? Should I bring in donuts? There's a million things that were running through your head because you were taught to always please the boss. And so you would
modify your teacher in school.
Yeah, you would modify your behavior. Yeah, your teachers taught you this. And so did your parents, because their parents taught them this. And so you were being disrespectful and you weren't being a good employee, it wasn't about your job performance. It wasn't about how well you did your job or how well you executed it. It was how well you pleased the darn boss. And in the 1970s, they were still like, women, hike your skirt up a little bit. I want to see the knees. We don't want you to wear pants. We want you to wear only wear. I mean, seriously, that's the work environment some of us came from. It's like, excuse me, you called me honey?
Yeah.
Hello? So it was that kind of mindset back in the day. And so we developed that pattern early on. So then when you have these relationships with other people, you're trying to people please as opposed to being your authentic self.
Right. I want to ask you all a question, and this kind of seems like it's out of left field, but what this is going to do, it's going to tell me and it's going to tell the audience what block of time you came into. So I'll start with you, Teresa. Teresa, who was president when you were born?
Oh, that would have been Dwight Eisenhower was still president.
Okay. Sophia, who was president when you were born?
Ford.
Nick, who was president when you were born?
Let's see. I think if I remember right, 96 was Bill Clinton.
Wow.
Wow.
How about you, Grandpa Brian? Who was president when you were born? You're muted.
Johnson.
Who was president when you were born?
George Washington.
Oh, shit. Get out of here with that.
No, I think
This lifetime.
I think
Brian.
Lyndon Johnson.
Okay. And for me, it was John F. Kennedy. And the reason I asked this is because what it does is it lets you understand what block of time that each of us came into. And everyone knows what was going on. Civil rights for me.
Yep.
For you was what, the war?
Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now you get a sense of what time frame you came into and why you have the patterns and the programming that you do have. And I thought that was interesting. Go ahead, Brian.
So what kind of patterns do you have, Nick? Because
so wait.
Because of the infidelity of the president.
I was just about to ask. I was like, so wait, you're telling me?
Hopefully he doesn't like cigars.
I was like, so wait, you're telling me? You're telling me I have relationship problems because I was born under an infidelity program? Actually,
I did not have sexual relationships with that woman.
Oh my God.
It's actually,
here we go.
Very uncanny that you bring
That's funny.
I want to explain this. So I learned a new gematria technique for finding out your destiny numbers and stuff like that. Let me go into Inner Path. I know some people. I met this guy named Steve. He's really good with numerology and he's really good with astrology too. Like he's up there with Sophia. He can just look at someone's birth and then immediately start making the chart in his head and then write it down. That's how good he is. But when he was doing my letters, he noticed that I had no twos in my name. And for everyone who knows numerology, twos involve relationships. So yeah, basically, and I already knew this. So this is just confirmation that one of my lessons I wanted to do is to have more meaningful, close relationships instead of always having those harems or consorts or concubines or whatever that I had in a bunch of different lifetimes because I saw the negative impact that it was starting to create. I wanted to try out something different. So the fact that I was born under a cheating president is kind of insane when you
Isn't that
put
interesting?
It that way.
Brian, you were going to make a comment. Thank you, Nick.
I don't know. Was Lyndon Johnson, because didn't he take over after Kennedy died?
Yeah.
After Kennedy, but Kennedy took over from Eisenhower.
Right, but did he get reelected? Because if not, then Nixon could have been president when I was.
Oh, Johnson? Yeah, no, it was Nixon.
Nixon, was still Vietnam.
Yeah.
Still Vietnam.
Yeah. Watergate, all that good stuff. Yep.
Yes.
The good old days.
I'm not a crook.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm not a crook. Yep. Tricky Dick, they called him. Remember
Tricky
that?
Dick.
Tricky
Yeah.
Dick. I remember my parents saying that.
Tricky Dick.
Right on. Yeah. So interesting.
Well, who was
But
it? that
anyway.
said, I smoked it, but I didn't inhale it.
I'm not a
Yeah,
crook.
that was Clinton.
That was Bill Clinton.
that was
I
Clinton.
didn't inhale.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did.
Interesting, huh? You know, and not only relationships, you know, with other people, but relationships with our society and our leaders. We're having a relationship as well
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, Sophia's over there shuffling some cards, and I thought it is a good time to go ahead and have her pull a card or two, whatever she wants to do. And let's ask the cards, why do we have relationships?
Well, I am using the Gellerhorn Norse Oracle deck,
Okay.
and this has runes and gods and figures from the lore in addition to other symbols. So I separated them into like 3 different piles and connected to relationships. Here, you guys ready for a little bit of lore? Just
Let's
a little
do
bit.
it. Yeah,
right.
you bet. Let's open that door.
So as far as relationships, the first one to step forward is Ratatusk or Ratatusker. This little, big squirrel goes up and down the world tree. Okay, so Nidhogg is a creature that chews on the bones of the oath breakers and the murderers, but then at the top of the tree is an eagle that is just like there's balance, but this little dude goes in between Nidhogg, the dragon, the beast at the bottom, and the eagle and the hawk at the top, telling stories between the two of them, sometimes stirring up the BS. But I mean, some people do that with relationships. They got to stir up the BS. Yep. But I would say communication is I'm a firm believer in actions speak louder than words. And I would say this card connected to relationships, it's taking action and being mindful of your words in a relationship. So,
because words have meaning.
They do. I agree with that. So that was from the pile of the gods, and I was laughing because I shuffled quite a few times, and Loki, that's actually Hod. Loki kept coming forward, and I'm like, not today, buddy, not today. I mean, we already know about Loki. Where's he at now? We talk about, there he is. This one came forward a couple of times, and that's why I thought it was kind of funny. Because I'm like, yeah, front and center, Loki. So the rune that came forward in connection to relationships is Lagus. So Lagus has to do with water flow, lake, leak. There's a lot of different interpretations, but there's movement and health. So there's a couple of kennings or poems that say in bringing health to the tribe is the kenning connected to Lagus. So making, with the relationships, we're responsible for the health of the relationship to have a healthy connection. And then finally, under symbols and bind runes and other different symbols is Vigzavir, which is the wayfinder. So Vigzavir was put on boats and different implements to help stay on the right course. Like each one of these has like a keyword, and actually that's the correct way to put it. A lot of people get Vigzavir sideways.
Oh, I see.
Is generally up top.
Okay.
But it's about protection and honor and, right thinking, right actions. So I believe that the quality of relationships that we have are by and large what we put into them, how we respect ourselves and other people, how we build trust, being mindful not to break trust. And it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yep.
what they say.
That symbol that you just held up, what do you call it again?
Oh, Vig Xavier.
It looks so much like the light code that Lori pulls down sometimes.
Sigils.
I think the she has a lot of Nordic.
It's a light language.
I like
Mhm.
this one.
The other one who comes close to those symbols is Bashar,
Yeah, that's true.
the entity of Bashar. Yeah,
Mhm.
interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to add on that I've been in contact lately with, I guess you would call her the most divine feminine aspect of my higher self. She's the divine, the feminine side of it. And she keeps reminding me, along with some spirits here in my community, that are very connected with animals and grounding. And if Jazz were here, she'd probably be able to chime in. But my Phyla was reminding me about different types of connections that we've all had. And she said the best animal spirits, if you're learning how to connect with your guides and you want to start there, you can, because animals are very innocent still, and they're teaching you so much through what they experience in nature if you just observe them, which is why so many people love the animal card decks, because that relationship and grounding with earth and those spirits is very helpful. But she reminded me of at least 3 or 4, if I can remember them all. And she says, look at the swan, because it's very much about romance in a relationship. So take a look at the swan. Look it up sometime. I'm not going to give you all the answers here, but take some time to read up about the spiritual significance of swans, because they can teach you a lot about relationships. And so it's like pulling the swan card for yourself. The other is, I wrote down here, the one that, okay, swans, lifelong loyalty, grace, and deep love, often pairing for life with someone significant. Wolves for devotion and teamwork, doves for faithfulness, horses, passion and freedom. These animals reflect partnership, trust, and connection. So you can have those types of connections, just not on an intimate level with other people in your life. Especially if you're coming from a heart space of pure love and light and saying, I love you. I love Brian. I love Nick. I love Sophia. I love Charles, Scotty Boy, Lori. I love everybody it might be different ways because of our relationship and what that relationship is. But you can have the same type of commitment and loyalty with these animals, and start connecting with them and communicating them. Call them in, talk to them in your thoughts. Doves, strong, loyal, right? Beavers, partnership and effort. Beavers represent a working relationship where both parties share responsibilities equally to build a stable, shared life. And gibbons, you all know what gibbons are? They're primates. They represent harmonious communication and connection, famously singing together to stay connected. So just start looking at some of these relationship type animals, because they're very strong on that. And they're here to teach us about relationships, she said, to remind everyone.
Right.
People, and I didn't even remember that.
Well, and I want to remind people too that you have a relationship with your animals, your dogs, your cats.
Yeah.
Especially if you're very close, and cats are amazing. Dogs are as well, but they come in with that pure unconditional love, and you're teaching them as much as they're teaching you.
Yeah.
And so that's important to remember that relationship as well, because you're helping to develop an early soul that is coming in and going through the cycles, going through the mineral kingdom, going through the plant kingdom, going through that animal kingdom. You're teaching them and they're learning from you. Wouldn't you say so, Grandpa Brian? And you've got Luna. You have that beautiful dog, Luna. What have you learned from her?
Patience, because she
Mm.
is stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
And the breed husky, not only that, she's a Taurus, so she's double stubborn. But other than that, the unconditional love. I mean, when I get home and she just comes running at me and is just so excited and just, oh my God, you're home, you're here. It's makes you feel
It's
good.
the best. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's the best. Yeah. And the longer they're with you, the longer you're experiencing that relationship.
Yeah.
And those animals are going to be there when you leave the body and you return home. They're going to be waiting for you there as well. And that's really cool to know.
Lori was
Yeah.
helping me with something on my back deck, on my side porch. And one of the birds that connects with me all the time is a Nevada mountain bluebird, and they're huge and they're gorgeous. And there's a whole tree of them. There's like 6 or 7 of them living in this tree. And I have a spirit that was very connected to this house named Clarabelle, who lived here in the 1900s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she uses part of my house as a portal. Anyway, she's very connected to, I forget what she's called. She's
Bluebell.
connected. No, I mean, I forget what she's called in terms of the type of spirit or soul she
A
is.
spry. She's
A
a spry.
spry.
She's an earthbound spirit. She serves the animals.
Right,
She
she's-
chooses to stay her earthbound. She's a human soul, but she chooses to serve the earth
Yeah, she chooses not
and the
to.
animals.
She chooses not to cross over into the other
The light.
higher realms. She
Mhm.
chooses to work with Earth Mother.
Mhm.
But she comes in, and there's a bird that works with her. Bluebell is the bird. I call her Bluebell. But
Mhm.
Clarabelle, that's Clara's name, Clarabelle. So
Mhm.
Clarabelle moves into Bluebell, and they communicate. And so anyway, she landed on the neighbor's roof next to me, and Lori's out there trying to talk to me, and we're working on something technical, and Lori and it's going, and Lori's like, anyway, blah blah blah. So we both at the same time realized, oh my God, she's trying to talk to. So we became very quiet, and we allowed her to come through, and she had a message for Lori, and it's something that we were working on with Spirit.
Mhm.
So, not sorry if you don't like if you call this woo woo or whatever, but it's real. It's a real solid connection with the nature kingdom, and they had something to say, and she needed us to know something, and it turned out to be pertinent, did it not?
Mhm.
But she was just yelling at us, and I'm like, this bird, and I'm like,
Getting
oh,
your
it's
attention.
Clarabelle. It's Clarabelle. Wait a minute.
Mhm.
We both felt the energy at the same time.
Yeah, it shifted.
It shifted, and
And
we're
I
like, oh, that's
recognized
Clarabelle.
she's trying to get our attention. Yeah.
It was you she wanted to get the attention.
Right. She had
Yeah.
a message for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was
And
really
it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you have a relationship with spirit as well. Right,
Mhm.
Sophia?
Every day.
Okay. Brian, you have a relationship with spirit. Nick, I know you do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
consciously
it
aware
comes
of
with
it.
I think it comes with the territory of being a metaphysical practitioner.
Absolutely.
Comes with default.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And you have a relationship with your guides.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Teresa
yeah,
does.
I'm going to the Michigan retreat that they do every year. This year with Heather in them, and
Mhm.
one of the
Oh,
classes.
awesome.
One of the classes I'm taking is to connect more to my guides, so
Mhm.
Great.
get to know them better.
Yeah.
And the connection to your higher self as well.
Mm.
There's so many aspects of yourself, and there's so many lifetimes that are reflecting back to you.
Oh yeah,
It's really trippy.
Yeah, they
And-
got a lot of cool classes. They even got one for plants. So I'm going to learn
cool.
stuff about plants, and then it's part of it is connecting to them. So
Yeah.
build a better
Cool.
relationship with plants. So
Right. Just like
Very
the trees
cool.
and the mycelium, how they connect to other trees, and
Mhm.
yeah, mushrooms, those little sensors that they put on plants like a leaf.
yeah,
It puts off that
They have
frequency.
music. Yeah. They
Yeah,
have music.
it's really
important.
something. Yeah.
or like with my cats. Like I mean, even now while we've been filming, I've had 4 cats come up to me
Yeah.
wanting
Yep.
attention. A lot
Mhm.
of people claim that when they're around cats, they don't want to be super needy and smothery, but all my life they've always been like that. So
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't know
When you
why.
relate to them, you're
You
a
have
cat
deep
person.
connections to
Yeah.
your pets.
Mhm.
Yeah. Deep, deep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that sense of incarnation, because you asked Brian earlier,
Uh-huh.
and I just want to say in closing, and then I'll let you be. I'll
Yep.
let you be. There's just one more point here.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't live for living in the past. So I don't try to explore every single past life, or I don't even call them past lives. I call them multiple concurrent emanations,
Mm-hmm.
experiences that are going on in different dimensions. But I don't try to live in those dimensions. I try to live here and now.
Right.
But they can teach you so much if you do connect with them periodically through meditation, and you do have an ability to meet up with another aspect of yourself from a different dimension. They're learning things too at an exponential rate, just as we are.
Mhm.
And so having a conversation with, oh, really? You did that? How did that help you? So there's like another version of me, healthier versions of me. And then there's more communicative versions of me. There's even more spiritual versions of me, although most of them have told me I'm more awake than they ever were or have been
Yeah.
in theirs. And so they're learning more from me when they enter. But I'm picking up quite a few tips on relationship management and on interacting with other humans just from different aspects of myself who've already lived through portions of lessons that I'm here to learn. So they become really great guides and counselors. But likewise, they're interacting with you to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
So on that note, let's get to final thoughts. Sophia, final thoughts for you?
Be a good human. Be a nice human. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
We covered a lot.
Yep. How about you, Nick? Final thoughts on tonight's topic?
To obtain success in your relationships, you need to obtain success with your inner relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm.
I love
Both
that.
are as important as the other.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Brian, final thoughts?
How do you let the relationships affect you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you let them affect you in a positive way or a negative way?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And for me, my final thought is identify which relational layer you're currently navigating. Recognize the contract. What is this relationship teaching you? Discern whether a relationship is karmic or aligned, and understand when a dissolution is actually a completion,
Yes.
and learn to build relationships from sovereignty and not survival, and honor the dyadic field as a living entity. Well, really good talk, you guys.
Awesome, Lori. Those are
Yeah.
great final points.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Watch for the posting, and we'll let you know when we have our next show. We'll be doing episode 8, and we'll talk more about that next time.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Teresa, for your insight and your love. Sophia, thank you for your insight and your love. Nick, thank you for your insight and your love. And Brian, thank you for your insight and your love. And for everyone watching, thank you for being here, supporting the channel. And we hope you got something out of it. All of you in chat for your wonderful comments, and really appreciate all that. Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you, Lori,
Oh, thanks.
for the time and the effort that you put into this, and the brainstorming and the connection with spirit and the messages and your dream analysis, interpretations, and it all goes into the script that you write for the video to provide us with a sound framework for the organic flow of the discussion within that framework. It just shows your love and support for this community and all you put into it, so I want to thank you for it, because I know it's a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I do it because I really love this, and I love helping others. It gives me purpose. So I appreciate the opportunity to give purpose in my life. So thank you for
Yep.
that. That was beautiful.
No,
All
thank
right.
you.
Well, on that note, you all have a wonderful weekend. Do something fun for yourself and pay attention to your relationships. Be more present in your relationships. All right. I hope
Yep.
we all have a great one.
All right.
Peace, love, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night.